All right, you're on.
Alright, so welcome to another episode of Cooking with the People's Chefs. Unfortunately, my partner Andrew isn't here today. He's doing a catering event. So I'm going to be here with you guys today. And I was just thinking about the COVID and how it's affecting everybody. And it's hard times for some people. So, you want to make a meal that's on a budget. And you don't really have a lot of time, things of that nature. So I put this together. This is a one-pot dish. Most of the stuff you can buy from your local dollar or whatever for $1 or so. So literally this whole meal is probably about $10, $12. And it's cheap in price, but it's going to be high in flavor value because that's how we roll. So let's get started. What we're going to do here is we're going to take ourselves about a quarter stick of butter. I'm going to turn that oven on about medium or so and just let that do its thing for a second. Now I know a lot of people think that you've got to have a lot of fancy smancy equipment to do good food, but you don't. So this is my uncle's little fixer-upper, and pretty much everything we're using here came with the house. So we don't have fancy materials today. We don't have, expensive anything really. This is going to be what I like to call the COVID budget meal. So let's do this. What we're going to do is we're going to basically melt this butter down. Now I like to use a little bit of olive oil with my butter when I'm cooking. Just kind of a little mixture that gives a little bit of flavor. Because olive oil is not just a oil, it's also a flavor oil. So when you get in here with this, you're going to really like it because the olive oil is going to coat things really nicely and it's going to give it a nice earthy taste. And that's really good. I don't mean earth like dirt because that's not good. So let's talk a little bit about experiencing life with the People's Chefs. So what we're all about really is living life through cultural experience, good food, good conversations, and talk about the things that matter, the issues of the day. You can tune into any one of the thousands of cook shows out there and they're going to teach you how to cook nice fancy stuff and it may or may not work out for you. But here, what we like to do really is to show you practical ways of cooking. And at the same time, we want to teach you how to experience life. So our little spin on it is we're going to have every episode, we're going to have somebody come in and I'm going to show you how to cook a pretty good meal. Then we're going to eat that meal with that person of the day and we're going to discuss some topics. Like today, one of my favorite rappers will be with us. And I'm not just saying that because he's my youngest son. He's actually pretty good. You can find him on SoundCloud. He's got a lot of plays on there, so you might want to check him out. He's pretty good. So once you got your butter melted, let's put a dash or two of that in there for a little flavor. Now what I've got here is I've got a hot onion chopped up. I've got a pork loin that you can get from Walmart for $3 to $5, not much. I chopped it up bite-sized pieces. Here I have a can of creamed potato, creamed mushroom, and creamed bacon. Both of these are under a buck at your local dollar or whatever. I have here about 4 roasted red chili peppers in oil and about 3 or 4 garlics chopped up. We've got about 2.5 cups of rice, instant rice. Here we've got our seasonings, which we have 1 tablespoon of garlic salt, 2 tablespoons onion powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Now, some people like to cook in the method of seasoning about the middle to the end, and that's fine and dandy because there's really no right way to do it. When it's cooking, it's a culinary experience, and it's really up to you and how you like to do things. There are a few rules. So what I like to do is once my butter melts, I like to put this in here. Since I'm using this herb blend here, I like to put those seasonings in there first to activate things. That's going to give them a chance to open up. And it doesn't take long. Once they hit the heat, you can start to smell the aromas. And once once that happens, I can smell it. It's aromatic. I put those onions in there. And we're not going to saute onions. We're going to sweat them today. And basically what that is going to turn this up here about medium high. It's a little different because we're cooking on this electric stove. If you're cooking on a gas stove, you probably want to keep it about medium. What we're going to do is we're going to take these onions, we're going to stir them around a little bit. Let it get coated with that butter, oil, and seasoning. And we're going to let those sweat. Now when they're sweating, we're going to keep this at a moderate heat so all the moisture and the juices come out of the onions. And that's going to add flavor. And that's really what we're looking for, because after a hard day of work, you come home, you want a good meal, you don't want to do a lot of work, but you want to taste like a lot of work, right? So while we're letting that go, let's tell you a little bit more about what we're doing here with experiencing life with the People's Chef. So me and my business partner, Andrew, we thought, you know, we should enter into this whole culinary game of being on TV and offering things, because, you know, we got stuff to say and show as well. But we were thinking, how can we set ourselves aside and be a little bit different than everyone else? So we came up with this thought, you know, we like to experience life the best we can and as much as we can. So what does experiencing life mean? It means, you know, you travel, you go to where you can, you meet good people, you have good food, you have good conversations. And isn't that what really life is about? Just living, meeting, seeing, loving, being loved. So that's what our whole culture is about, and that's what our network is about. So we're on Mighty Networks. It's a paid subscription. I'll give you a 3-day trial. Check it out, see if you like it. But you can really follow us on YouTube for a while, and even Instagram, just to kind of get a feel for who we are and what we're doing. But the network is really a bunch of people, you know, nationwide who come from all walks of life. And they're kind of just doing their own thing. And what we do is we get together and we help each other further our goals. And I think that's important because, you know, in this world, the whole idea and the notion of doing things or not needing anyone, it's really non-existent. In this life, we're all going to need somebody somehow, some way. So why not surround yourself with people who are trying to go and do things that you're trying to go and do? And that, my friends, is what we're all about. So as you tune in from episode to episode, you're going to meet different people. They're going to come from all walks of life. And they're all going to have a story to tell. They're all going to have something to talk about. And that's really what we like to do, is experience that through other people's eyes, to see, you know, how they see things. There's one thing is for sure. Our culture, globally speaking, is way too judgmental these days, and no one really takes time anymore to understand where people are coming from. And I think that's a lot of the issue we have here in our country, of good old USA, is not a lot of people are willing to just listen. Not only listen, but really contemplate on, you know, somebody's walking life. If you've never went through the things that somebody's gone through, it's kind of hard to point your finger. So right now I'm going to put these chilies in here. Now, if you don't like a lot of heat, you can always take the seeds out before you put them in there. I like a little bit of heat, so I left them in there. And once we're at this stage, it doesn't take long because you're not really trying to overdo it. You're just trying to release the flavors. And you can smell it. Once you start to smell those chilies, it's time to make a little hole right there, and you take your garlic, you plop that in there. And garlic you want to cook for about 30 seconds or so, or until you start to smell the garlicky smell. And what that's doing is releasing those oils, and everything's going to combine nicely together, and it's going to create flavor. Now that is ready, we're going to put the pork in there. And what we're going to do with this pork is we're going to swish it around a little bit here so it's coated. And we're going to brown it a little bit. Because this is going to end up being kind of a hearty soup. And it's going to be fulfilling. Because we're going to have a lot of stuff going on here, but with not a lot of items. So later on, we're going to hear from SS Dolo, and he's going to tell us how he came to be and what his record company is about, what they're promoting, what they've got going on, and maybe he'll bless us with a story or two. Who knows? We'll find out once we get there. So we're going to cook this food. We're going to talk a little bit. And when it's ready, we're going to have a meal, and we're going to discuss things and see what's going on with SS Dolo. Now just let that sit and cook for a bit. Alright, so the next steps are going to be your soups. We're going to add a little bit of water to thin it out. And once that's done, we're going to put the rice in there. It's going to simmer for a while. And while that's simmering, maybe we'll do a little bit more talking. So a little bit about myself. I went to culinary school. I've worked at a few restaurants, usually French or Italian cuisine. Businessman, investor, and I've got a lot of titles, but the most important title to me is just human being. And I think it'd be nice if we could all understand that we are humans and we make mistakes and we're not perfect. This world could use a little bit of love going on. So when we're cooking this pork, before we get to the actual liquid phase, we're not going to cook it fully because it's going to continue to cook in the fluids. So we don't want the meat to be tough. We want it to be nice and juicy and flavorful, so when we bite in it, we can feel like we've accomplished something. As for my partner Andrew, well, he's more of a talkative one of us too. And it's a shame he's not here today, but we're pretty busy. So there's a catering event going down in Nashville right now. It's pretty large. And well, I know it's going to be well. But a little bit about Andrew. Andrew went to culinary school as well. He's a chef at the Sheraton Hotel down there. Well, Andrew's got several titles because Andrew stays pretty busy. And I believe that our main focus with bringing these shows to you is just to kind of give you a new way of looking at life, so that you know that it's not really a box, because nobody likes to be put in a box and thinking in a box. Well, that really doesn't get you anywhere in life. So if you're the kind of person who likes good conversation and good food, maybe even like to pound the break a little bit, this is definitely the place for you. Because we're going to talk about all kinds of things. Today it's going to be rap. Tomorrow, who knows, maybe we'll talk to a political activist or a politician, or maybe the local pastor, who knows. We just really want to get as many points of view as possible and discuss those things, because, you know, we're not doing a lot of talking right now. We're doing a lot of yelling at each other, and that's not going to get us anywhere. So hopefully through this show you can learn to make some good stuff, and you can learn to be a little bit more understanding. And who knows, through our network of people, if you were ever to subscribe to our network, maybe you'd meet some people who can take you to the next stage in life. Because that's really what that's here for, is just a bunch of people with the common goal to prosper in life. So this looks like it's about ready. I'm not really trying to put any brown on it or anything, just wanted to cook. And it looks like it's about ready, so what I'll do is I will scoop all of this soup in here. Now with these creamy soups, that's going to add flavor, but it's also going to add a little bit of texture. And it's going to make things a little bit on the silky side, which is a good thing. Because once this hits your palate, you are definitely going to thank me. You're going to be glad that you stumbled across this show. So we'll just give that a second to warm back up. Now, when I put the water in here, keep in mind I always use cold water when I'm cooking, because hot water actually has an electrode in it. from the water being heated up in that whole process. And sometimes that can affect the flavor. It might throw things off a bit. So cold water is normally the route to go. As usual, we always like to hear from people, so you definitely can give us a shout out. You can request things. If you're part of the network, well, really the sky is the limit. You can even appear on one of these shows, or maybe we'll come to you and we'll check it out and see if we can do a show where you're at. Now this is kind of a little thing that I created a little while ago, and I like to call it pork loin soup. Funny name, but it tastes really good. Now I've got a few cups of water here, but I'm not going to use all of it. I'm just going to pour it in here as much as needed. You can thin it down to the consistency that you want. I like my soup not so thick. I like it to be, as they say in the culinary world, nappe, where if I stick my spoon in there, it just coats it and slowly runs off. To me, that's about the perfect consistency. But then again, there are some times when I like it a little bit thick. And that's really going to be up to you. These recipes, they're more like guidelines, and you follow them to a certain extent, and then you take them as far as you want to go after that. So while you're eating this and you taste it, which I recommend you taste it often, yeah, you might say, it needs a little salt. It's your meal, you're cooking it, you know what you like, so if it needs more salt, put a little more salt in there. Now I'm going to let that sit for a bit, let it heat up.
This is recording, you just gotta push start and find all this beginning stuff you can just cut out. Damn right.
Alright, so I'm here with OSS Dolo. Like I said, one of my favorite rappers. And we're going to talk to him and see how he's experiencing life and hear some of his points of views. So, OSS Dolo, how did you come up with that name?
Well, so me and a couple of friends way back when we just like to party. So basically, when I was thinking of my rap name, I was like, well, what do we always do? Is like, man, we're always on some shit, and and I was like, well, on some shit, huh? OSS, so that's what OSS stands for, on some shit. And well, Dolo, because I like my alcohol, I really like it a lot. So Solo Dolo, Red Solo Cup, that's probably my favorite way to drink. So that's how that came into fruition. Just kind of mix those two together.
I'm always curious about how people come up with names for themselves or their products. And, well, that's interesting. So, OSS Dolo, you've got your own record label. Tell me something about that.
Well, it took me 4 years to make. It's a long process, and as much as a record label as it is, it's more of a promotion label. We help young artists trying to get their music out there. We give them paid promotions. I work through RNS Media, so I just hit them up whenever they need a promotion. I get percentage of the cut. That's how that works.
Sounds like business to me.
Always business.
So, you're on SoundCloud. You've got close to, 100,000 hits or so?
Well, yeah, play-wise, I'm over 100,000 plays now. And, you know, it's a small start, but it's a start. It's better than a lot of people are doing, honestly, in my opinion.
So I know when we talked earlier, you told me that what you're doing is you're not really trying to compete with the bigger guys, but rather you're trying to, cultivate and nurture the up-and-comers?
Pretty much, yeah. I want to see people. Now, you don't gotta to do your music. You don't gotta be famous. You just gotta be to a point in your musical career that you feel comfortable, that you feel happy in, and that's where you go from there. You don't. I mean, if it doesn't matter if you're famous, you just keep making music because it's a passion. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's what you love to do. So you keep doing it no matter if you're gonna be famous or not. So that's so I like to help the younger artists.
That sounds pretty good to me. So, what do you think about rap culture nowadays?
Well, I've been in. It's taken so many different directions because we have rap, but then there's all these subgenres. And people are like, well, this is trash and this is trash. Well, how can you say it's trash when he's got millions of people liking his shit and following him? I was like, you can't say it's trash. The numbers don't lie. It's just because you don't like it. That's a personal opinion. He's not here to make the music for you. But everybody's saying the rap genre has taken such a downfall, and it really hasn't. It's evolving. Music evolves over time. Look where we are from back in the Renaissance period. They're making classical music. I mean, we're talking Beethoven and Bach. Look at us now. Nobody plays that anymore. I mean, music evolves just like life evolves. You can't hate on something that's just changing as what it does.
I see. So, what do you think that your life philosophy is?
My life philosophy. Oh man, not something I never really think about, but I have to say right
Yes,
now.
we're totally unscripted.
Oh yeah, no, totally unscripted. But my life philosophy. Well, that's a really tough question. Well, it's really. I just want to make my own way in life, make my mark. It doesn't have to be a mark that the world knows, but I just want to do me really until I die. I mean, you live, you die, but what did you do in the meantime? You only get one life, so I want to make it worth it. It's really my life philosophy. Make everything I do worth it.
All right, that sounds like something to me. So, I heard that you had opened up for Elephant Man one time. What was that like?
Elephant Man. Shows are probably one of my favorite things to do. I mean, I like to see people jump, move, get crazy, and it makes me feel good about myself. And I know the crowd. Like when I do shows, the crowd they go nuts every time. Even if they don't even know my songs yet, every time I go out there, they all just like, okay, this is hot, and then and then they get with it, and then it's all game over from there. But opening up for Elephant Man was probably one of the coolest ones.
That definitely sounds like something. I am a fan of Elephant Man. I do appreciate some of his music. I would like to meet that guy, to be honest with you.
Would you like to get him on the show?
Hint, hint. Yeah, so tell me, what's in the future for OSS Dolo?
Well, right now I have been taking a little break on music, just to get more creative ideas and make new sounds. But in the future, more music videos, more shows, more albums, more music, more OSS. More OSS as always.
I know that rap has kind of got a bad name, and I think it's really unjustifiable because I appreciate really all forms of music. You can even catch me sometimes listening to bluegrass. It just depends, whatever kind of moves my soul. But what would you say to the people who try to discourage the up and comers?
Yeah, well, the people that discourage them, I mean, mind your own damn business, honestly, for one. Honestly, I think it's envy for the most part, what I think it is. I always think that it's envy is they see these rappers making it, getting all these millions, all these nice car stuff, and they're just still working at an IKEA, so. I mean, like you can't be mad. It's just envy is all I see when I see people hating on the rap genre and all that. That's all I see. It's envy.
So I know all your followers are probably watching right now, and they're wondering, well, how does that slop taste?
No, this is pretty fire. Make this. Make this. This is really good. I mean, you'll enjoy it. Trust me. I'm enjoying it. Chowing down.
So, in your time, like, let's talk about the struggle. Like, what did it take to get to where you are?
Well, for the first year I was making music, I was really just trying to find my sound. where I stood in music and how I could use my talents. Because I play multiple instruments. I play the trumpet, I play the drums, the guitar, and the bass. I was like, I like to incorporate that in my music sometimes, and I can sing also along rapping. If you've heard my songs, you would know. um, but you know, the struggle. It was a little bit before I got like a really big gig. Like 2 years into the music making, I finally did the opening show for Automotion, which if you're in Wisconsin, Wisconsin does big like tourist trap. Every year they have a car show there. So people bring their cars all over, from all over the states, and they bring it right there just to show off their cars. And the last day they have a party basically. And I was on the stage. There was like 450 people there, and that was wild. I mean, I thought the stage was gonna fall down the way we were jumping, but after that, it was pretty smooth rolling. But back then, we weren't even OSS yet. We were Backpack Killers Music. And then the group, over some fallings, part of the struggles, over some falling out with some of the group and all that, we split up. But then I decided to keep going. I was like, I'm not going to let this stop me. And OSS was like, OSS, there you go.
So, because experience in life with the People's Chef is really all about experience in life and culture, what would you say the culture of OSS Dolo is?
Our culture is more to represent the broken, the lost, and the hated. Because those are the people that truly can bring us up, because they're the only ones who truly understand pain. There's a lot of pain in this world, and I believe through my music, I can help people alleviate that pain, share theirs with others, because if you don't share your pain, you let it bottle up, and it blows up, and that's what the world's been doing for so long, all these years. I mean, that's really just the culture right there. We're just rebels. That's all there.
Right.
Music for the rebels. So the culture is...
He's a rebel with the cause. All right. So we're going to wrap things up here. This was a pretty good meal. It turned out good. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys make it. And I hope to hear from you. So as a closing, do you have anything to say to the up-and-comers out there?
Up-and-comers, keep staying on it. Don't quit. If you do, you'll regret it. Please, don't quit. Do it for me.
All right, guys. This has been another episode of Experience in Life with the People's Chef. Tune in next time to see what else we're going to do. You never know. Maybe it might be you on here.